It is November. This story is called November, and it was written by K.C. Kelly and illustrated by Bob Ostrom. How did November get its name? What are some famous holidays celebrated during this month? Were any famous people born in November? In this story, you will find out. Let's begin. It starts with the table of contents, which tells the reader all the things they will learn in this book. So the chapters are called Welcome to November, Big November Holidays, Fun November Days, November Weeks and Months, November Around the World, November in History, and Famous November Birthdays. It ends with a glossary and index where we can learn more. Let's get started. Welcome to November. Did it just get darker outside? There's a reason for that. It's November. For the past several years, daylight savings time has ended each year in November. Nights are longer and days are shorter. But the beginning of November also means that Thanksgiving is nearly here. That's great news for everyone, except turkeys. November is the 11th month, and there are 30 days in this month. Why daylight savings? We move the clocks back 1 hour in the fall and 1 hour ahead in the spring. This creates longer summer evenings, but makes winter nights short. In most places, that works fine since it's too cold to be out at night in winter. Daylight savings time has been official in the United States since 1966. How did November get its name? In the original Roman calendar, the 9th month took its name for the Latin for the number 9, Novem. Even after the calendar changed to 12 months, November kept its original name. Birthstone. Each month has a stone linked to it. People who have birthdays in that month call it their birthstone. November has 2 birthstones. On the left to right, there is a topaz, and on the right, there is a citrine, which is another gem. November Around the World. Here is the name of the month in other languages. So it talks about all the different ways, different places say and spell November. Time to vote. Most places in the United States hold Election Day on the second Tuesday in November. Every 4 years, Election Day includes voting for president. Big November holidays. Thanksgiving, final Thursday. On the final Thursday of November, Americans stop to give thanks. This holiday is based on an early Pilgrim celebration. Giving thanks for a good harvest is an even older tradition. America's Thanksgiving became official in 1863. President Abraham Lincoln made it a national holiday during the Civil War. Today, Thanksgiving Day is celebrated with big family dinners, football games, and church services. Veterans Day is on November 11th. A veteran is a person who has served in a nation's military forces. November 11th has been celebrated in honor of America's veterans since 1919. Why November 11th? On that day in 1918, World War I came to an end. The holiday was called Armistice Day at first. An armistice means an agreement to end a war. In 1954, the holiday became Veterans Day to include vets from all of America's wars. Giving back to. Many communities have events to help the less fortunate on Thanksgiving. School and church groups serve free Thanksgiving dinners. People can get free clothing at other places. In Santa Barbara, California, each year an international medical charity welcomes hundreds of volunteers. They make care packages for victims of disasters. Then the volunteers head home for turkey. Here are some fun November days. November has more ways to celebrate than just eating turkey. Here are some of the unusual holidays you can enjoy in November. On November 3rd, it's National Sandwich Day. On November 6th, it's Saxophone Day. On November 13th, it is World Kindness Day. And on November 15th, it is America Recycles Day. On November 17th, it is National Take a Hike Day. On November 21st, it is World Hello Day. On November 22nd, it is National Cashew Day. On November 29th, it is National Dance Day, it's Square Dance Day. And November weeks and months. Holidays don't just mean days. You can celebrate for a week too. You can also have fun all month long. Find out more about these ways to enjoy November. So here are some November weeks. Geography Awareness Week. Geography is the study of our world and the places on it. Ask your teacher to show you a few things about geography. Can you find your state on a map? What about your city? National Young Readers Week. Make sure and read this book again the second week in November. You'll join millions of kids celebrating the fun and surprise of reading. National Game and Puzzle Week. This week is about puzzles, brain teasers, pencil games, and more. Turn off the screens and grab your dice and play. And then November months. Native American Heritage Month is in November. The first people to live in North America had a rich history and culture. They still do. Events in this month celebrate Native Americans. Listen to music, check out art, and hear the stories of these diverse groups. November also is National Novel Writing Month. Every year, more than 100,000 people sign up to write a novel in a month. It's called NaNoWriMo for short. Writers add their daily total of words and try to reach 50,000 in 30 days. Why don't you give it a try? November is also National Model Railroad Month. Do you like model trains? This is the month to celebrate them. Fans of model railroads get really into their hobbies. Find a model railroad club in your area this month. Ask if you can come and see their trains in action. All aboard! And here's November around the world. Countries around the world celebrate in November. Find these countries on the map. Then read about how people there have fun in November. On November 19th is Discovery Day in Puerto Rico. On this day in 1493, Christopher Columbus arrived in Puerto Rico. Its citizens remember the day each year with parties and parades. On November 30th, it is St. Andrew's Day in Scotland. This is a big holiday in Scotland. Andrew is the patron saint of this part of the United Kingdom. On November 11th, it is King's Birthday, Bhutan. Yingmi Singye Wangchuck was king of this tiny Asian country from 1972 to 2008. November 13th is World Kindness Day. Since 1997, many countries have used this day to help people understand the importance of kindness to each other. And then, Day of the Dead. People in Mexico and many Latin American countries call November 1st and 2nd as Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead. They wear colorful costumes and make shrines to their relatives. Skull candles are lit and parades are common. Here's November in history. On November 1st, back in 1993, 12 countries created the European Union. They worked together to unify Europe. Today, there are 28 members of the EU. On November 4th, in 1922, Howard Carter discovered King Tut's tomb in Egypt. And there's a picture of him. Gettysburg Address. On November 19th, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln gave one of the most famous speeches ever. He was in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, to dedicate a cemetery. His talk was only 2 minutes long, but his words echo today. They began 77 years ago. Look it up and read it together. November 6th, 1429, Henry VI became King of England. He was only 8 years old. On November 7th, in 1917, the Russian Revolution created what became the Communist Soviet Union. On November 9th, in 1989, the Berlin Wall came down. The wall had divided Berlin, Germany, for nearly 30 years into east and west parts. On November 17th, in 1800, the U.S. Congress met in Washington, D.C. for the first time. Earlier, U.S. capitals had been in Philadelphia and New York City. On November 18th, in 1993, South Africa approved a new constitution. For the first time in more than 300 years, Black and white people were equal in that country. November 21st, 1783, 2 men in France became the first people to ride in a hot air balloon. November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed in Dallas, Texas. And new states. 6 states first joined the United States in November. Do you live in any of these? If you do, then make sure to say happy birthday to your state. Washington became a state, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, and North Carolina. Here are some famous November birthdays. November 7th, Madame Marie Curie. She was a famous scientist. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. November 14th, Prince Charles. This son of England's Queen Elizabeth II is first in line to take over her job someday, and that's a picture of him. On November 14th is Condoleezza Rice's birthday, and Condoleezza Rice is also pictured here. She was the Secretary of State from 2005 to 2009 and now helps run Stanford University. November 18th, David Ortiz. The slugger they call Big Papi has helped the Boston Red Sox win 3 World Series. November 26th, Charles Schulz. The famous cartoonist created the comic strip Peanuts. November 27th, Bill Nye, also pictured here, known as the Science Guy. He appears on TV teaching science to kids. Also pictured, his birthday was on November 30th, is Sir Winston Churchill, a longtime leader in Great Britain. He was Prime Minister during World War II. And at the end of this book, there is a glossary, which helps you learn the definitions of different words, and an index. So if you wanted to learn more about something that we read, you could look down here and find the page that it's on and look back. This book also has a quiz if you'd like to read it in Epic, and if you are curious about your favorite month, you can look it up in Epic as well. Have a great day.